Hello, I'm Connor Yakbeck, lead software engineer at Systems Dynamics, and in this video, I'm talking about how to use Python to do everything you can do with parameters. So in a running simulation, the Python API allows you to make a Python system, which is where the space teams module, like Python module here, is used to connect to the simulation and interact with it. So whenever we have a if we had a entity ref parameter called fooEntity inside the sim entity, we could get that parameter, and now we have entity foo. But in order to do something to this, it will be we can have a entity foo parameter variable here, but because the get parameter function returns any, because it's dynamic for any type of variable, we need to give Python a type hint for what this is. So sc.entity is a good type hint. So now entity is in type entity, and we can see what we can do on it. So entity foo dot. Now we can scroll through all these and see what we want to do. So let's get a param on this of type double. So sure, foo param. The AI IntelliSense knows what it's doing. Okay, so get param that returns. So foo param equals that. We've just gotten a double out of this, out of the entity, and that's from the get parameter function. We can also do set param, which is instead of getting a parameter value, it's setting parameter value, and instead of having a return value from this, we add a argument to the function, and it just does that. You can also do add param. So add param foo param2, which has a different value, and now it should look like that. So I can go from here and do entity foo dot delete param. This is usually used for dynamic parameter stuff when you're trying to make a data structure that is has kind of ephemeral stuff happening. It may or may not be exactly what you expect because there's some distributed systems stuff going on in the background of space teams. So if you delete a parameter at the same time as you add a parameter or set parameter, you may have some errors pop up. But if you do things smartly, it should work out okay. So if I specify foo param2 here, I don't need a type it here. It just takes only a key. That will remove this parameter from that map. So entities have parameters, but they are just a subclass of the sc.ParamMap class. So we can do this where we make a new object of this. So my map equals that. So ParamMap is basically a key value map of string to parameter value. So my map has all the same functions that the entity has. So I can do my map dot add param. It's currently empty because we just made a new one with this function. So if I do add param sc dot var type dot bool with a some sort of thing like this. So my bool is a good key for that. This will add the my bool parameter to my map. Whenever you do a get param, if you have a key that's wrong, that will cause an error. So if I do my bool 2 here, this will cause an exception and probably crash your system here. So this will not work. We'll cancel that out. When you're doing when you're doing operations on a entity or a parameter map, there's also the possibility of nested parameter maps where the parameter value of that entity is or the parameter value is kind of 2 levels down. So how you do that is through this notation where you use square brackets to make a Python list, and you can add another parameter that is inside a certain map. So now this parameter map on top my map has a parameter called map2, which is a parameter map, and my bool is inside there. And these two exist not side by side, but they both exist inside this parameter map at different levels. So at the top level, it's my bool and map2, and then inside map2, there's my bool. To do parameter operations inside my bool, inside map2, you can use the get map function. So my map dot get param map map2, and the code completion just suggested this for me, and that's a good example. So I can go through and add a parameter in there, or I can do something like this where I split this into 2 lines and do my map 2 equals that. And this is a parameter map reference, and I can do param map add param with that there as well. So whenever you're doing operations like this, like whenever you're doing something that requires looping through a parameter map, you might use a function like my map dot for each param. So this for each param does operations, which are a lambda function for each of the parameters in the map. Whenever it's a oh, that's misspelled. Whenever it's a whenever you have a parameter, it will have a certain key and a variable type. So this key is a string. This is not that is it's type. So key type. The starter code that got made right here just is a lambda function that that logs this info out to the log files into the console. Well, if we went in here and did some more functionality, we could say type and value my map.get param with that type and key, and it's able to use the Python automatic string manipulation stuff to use these curly braces to send the value of this get param to a string type and use that in the string that it logs. So if we ran this code, it would use the logger, which is part of the kind of Space Teams library, to log to both the console and the log files all the keys and values in here. So we get out the results from all these that we did, not this up here. We get the results from all these because we're just referencing my map. So this is useful for making really complex functionality where it's able to do really powerful things. So if I go into my testing tools param regular class, we can see how these are used inside here. There's a bunch of UI code that's kind of not necessary to go through, but if I go down to the code that sets it up, we can see so this is the kind of the main area. We initialize GPy GUI, we do UI stuff. We go through this, more UI stuff. We get the sim entity. And for the sim entity, we do for each parameter, and we do a function on there, which takes in the key and var type. And step param edit in here, I wrote to do UI stuff based on the variable type and the other parameters, other arguments inside this function. So I recursively go through every parameter in these entities by using these param map functions to get the param map of the next one and do for each param on there. That's just a good example of how to do really complex parameter functionality with the Python API. See if I'm missing anything. So my map dot has param. I didn't talk about that yet. So this will just keep you a bool with if it's only a single argument. I think I made a second one of these with a var type has param. If you have, oh, it needs to be first. So if you, a two argument version of this is if you make sure, if you specify a var type with it as well, that will ensure that it has a param of that variable type. It'll return false if it's a different variable type. So this is useful for stuff that has optional parameter values. On that dot, and keep going through the list of things. Get param array. I explained in an earlier video how to do like how arrays look, but they basically all go out to a list of variables where it's normal Python lists. So you can use it with anything that you need to. One thing that's important for the Python API in particular is when we do a double V3 or V2 or a matrix, that's using we use NumPy types for those. So it's going to be really easy to use all the classic NumPy stuff that you're using. There's more details that we can go over on timestamps, but I think I'll save those for another video. This is all good for now.